I feel so entertained after that. Loved it. Brilliant finish. Obviously, not as much. Well, actually, before I say the result, if you're waiting for the result or you haven't seen it, look away because I'm about to reveal it. Not as much fun if you're an Australian fan at the end. Just as a neutral, thoroughly enjoyed that spectacle. It intensifies the rivalry between Cheika and Eddie Jones. And Michael Cheika got the better of Eddie again. That's only Michael Cheika's second win with Argentina in 8 test matches. And the last win was against England as well, when they were coached by Eddie Jones. It's 0-2 Eddie is at the start of his Australia reign, and could quite legitimately be taking his Wallabies into a World Cup with no wins from 5 matches. Quite possible. It's having been an England fan, and I stuck up for Eddie a lot, and I think he's a brilliant coach. And he got us to a World Cup final, and he equaled the world record number of Test wins, Grand Slams. You know, he did some things really well, but he wears you down, and it's quite when he's when he's wearing down fans of other countries. I can just watch it and enjoy, and he is a big character that I like that he's in the game of rugby, and I'm sure he'll do better with Australia. I just want to say before I start, actually, James Slipper, you are a class act. He was interviewed at the end of the game, and the interviewer tried to draw him into a chat about the referee, Jaco Piper, and he wasn't having any of it. And that must have been hard for him to do, for one thing, because I'm sure he was frustrated about some decisions. We'll get onto those. But I just thought that was classy from him. So I wanted to acknowledge that, because there's much more that Australia could have controlled that they didn't. And first and foremost, they should have taken care of business themselves and not left anything in the hands of a referee or anything like that. And again, we can get onto exactly what happened there. But all eyes on the Eddie Jones press conference, I guess, after the game. We will see. It's just rugby, mate. Sometimes things like that happen, mate. It's rugby. Actually, on the more of my terrible Australian accent, Sean Maloney, the commentator, we get the feed of the Australian coverage in the UK on Sky Sports here. Is it Stan Sport in Australia? And I do like Sean Maloney purely for the fact that he sounds like he's about 35% drunk when he's commentating. It's Marky Mark on the ball. He just kind of sounds a bit slow motion, mate. And I think that's better for it. And it was morning in England when I was watching that game, and it made me want to crack a beer open. So did the game, to be fair. Made me want to crack a beer open indeed. Also, Sonny Bill Williams. Love him, bro. Yeah, bro. It's a special day for a special player. Special moment, bro. I love Sonny Bill. I love Sonny Bill so much. He's Sonny Bill. He can do what he wants. He's won a World Cup. He's a legend. But I did quite enjoy the fact that it seemed like Pablo Matera had a greater command of the English language than Sonny Bill in that post-match interview. So then, is Eddie Jones just keeping his cards close to his chest, or has he got no clue? Let's talk about Australia then, the good and the bad. The good, let's try and be positive here. Carter Gordon came on earlier than Eddie Jones would have liked to have introduced him into the game, with Len Ikitau going off, and hopefully he's okay. We heard through the game he's gone to hospital to have a scan. So hopefully Len Ikitau is okay in his shoulder. It hasn't ruled him out the World Cup, because that would be a big blow. But Carter Gordon got valuable minutes and looks really good. Lovely mullet as well. So that was good. Mark Nwanganitawaze. There we go. Mark Nwanganitawaze. He's the boy. He is the boy. Plays with a smile on his face. Plays great attacking rugby. And it looked like he was going to have a fairy tale moment. He was actually relatively quiet through the game, but that's because Australia didn't have a lot of possession and weren't able to get their big players into the ball game. But when you add him on with Korombete, Karevi, starting to look quite good in that back line there. So those were good things. The bad, and defensively, I'd say there were some positives for Australia, particularly towards the end of that first half. The goal line stand, keeping Argentina out, key moment in the game, and coming away with that scrum penalty with a man down and Marika Korombete on the flank. That was a good moment, and it shows there's a bit of steel there. However, as we flip over to the bad, discipline. It's just brain dead stuff from Australia. They had a 2-score lead and just gave away penalty after penalty after penalty. The lead was gone, and it's just individual decisions. And this is sometimes this is well, here we go. I was about to say this is an individual decision, so how can you blame a coach? But it's quite noticeable. Under Eddie Jones, England had exactly the same trend. They would just give penalty, penalty, penalty. They would compound one penalty with another. The players would make really stupid decisions in the game that were uncharacteristic of them. And it feels hard to blame a coach. But when the coach is the consistent theme, is it the coach? I don't know. But discipline was not good enough. And also, I mentioned that they've got some good strike runners out in the backfield, but Australia didn't use them tonight. Marika Corambetti hardly touched the ball. Mark Nwanga-Nitawaze only got the ball a couple of times. Samu Karevi hardly touched it. They were all more busy defensively. And also bad, I'm going to actually hold my hands up and say I was wrong about something. I like the look of Tom Wright, or that's what I was saying up until this point. I can kind of see tonight where the Aussie fans have been getting at. And you may be watching and you've seen a lot more of Tom Wright than me. I've liked what I've seen, but maybe at the top level, just not quite there. So there's some question marks. Argentina, good for them, was just attitude, passion, all the things that you expect to get from Argentina, but you don't win a game in the last moment in the manner that they did without having a bit of something about you, a bit of substance, some minerals. And I'd also say that I think they got the better of the tactical battle of the match. And again, that's a question mark over Quade Cooper's head, is it, a little bit? Quade Cooper and Nick White between them, the tactical management of the game. But Argentina got themselves in the right area of the field, dominated territory at times and possession. And the set piece then was able to exert a bit of pressure, and the pressure told in the end. And you can't just say Australia had poor discipline. You've got to say Argentina forced Australia to make bad decisions. But the bad for Argentina, and they're not going to get away with this in a World Cup, just not clinical. So many chances near the Australian line and did not come away with the points. And if that happens in a World Cup, they'll lose to England and they'll lose in a quarter-final. And this game, by the way, could well be a World Cup quarter-final. And if it is, it's set things up beautifully. I enjoyed that so much. I enjoyed it so much. And on Argentina's as well, another good is Geronimo de la Fuente, and the way the Aussie commentators, I think it was Sean Maloney when De La Fuente scored, Geronimo de la Fuente. Loved it. But yeah, he was much better and added a bit of focus in their side. So awesome stuff. Great game. I really want to go and see the press conference. In fact, that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to go and see the Eddie Jones press conference. Let's see what he has to say. Hit subscribe, leave your comments, and I'll see you on the next video.